Hello sir, continuing from the last video, and the purpose of this video is to demonstrate the functionality of one of my component, the registration page. So in this video I'm going to demonstrate the functionality of the backend and the front end of my registration page. So if I go to the GitHub, you can see I'm on my branch, and in the front end section in the source folder, there's this registration page folder, and the JS and CSS file from the React is included in this folder, and this file is also available in the main branch as well. And if I go to the Visual Studio, you can see in the source folder of the front end, I have the registration folder and the JS and CSS file is here. So for the JS file, I have actually used the React router DOM for the navigability between pages in the website, and the Axios to connect to my backend, and other regular functionality to create a registration page. So this is the validation form, and the user has to follow a particular password pattern to register their email. And it also shows this error message if one of the field is empty, and it also checks the validity of the email address. And here it shows this message if the password protocol is not followed perfectly. This is the part where the verification is happening. So I have added this functionality in the registration page, where if a user use an email address for registering their account, they will get a verification code in their email address, and after putting the verification code, they will be able to register their account. And I have used SendGrid API to achieve this functionality, and I have also included the SendGrid API dependency in the backend code for my registration page in the pom.xml file. So this is another functionality which actually reads the data for the table in the database and figure out if the email address is already been registered, and the user cannot register two accounts with a single email address. So for a single email address, they can register one particular account, and this is the functionality that I achieved by using the functionality where the backend actually reads the data from the database and sees if the email already exists in the database. So this is the error catching section, and this is the return statement where I have actually designed the field and the placeholder for my page. And this is the handle verification section. So if I go to the database now, so I'm already in our server, in our MySQL database server, and if I click show tables, you can see the tables that was created by other team members, but this table has not yet been merged with our main application. So now if I go to the Eclipse and run our main application, so you can see in Eclipse I have added the registration controller here. So I have actually added the cross origin function in the main classes, and I have defined the different endpoints that I need to create this registration page. So this is for registering a new user. This is getting a user by ID. This is the functionality where it checks if the email already exists in the database. This is the verification section, and this is for deleting a user by ID. If I go to the registration DTO, so I have added the constructors, getters, and setters in this part. I go to the resource not found exception. So this is the exception handler for my registration page. I go to the module, the register.java, the user model, and I have also set up the ID, the column names for the registration page to handle. These columns will be generated in the database and also be saved as well. And this is the getters and setters for registering a user. And this is the repository for the registration page. It handles two functions: finding a user by the email address and checking if the user with that particular email address already exists. So now I go to the database again and command show tables. As you can see, oh, I'm not running the application yet. Let me run the application. So the application has started, and I check the database again, and as you can see, the database, the tables for my particular component has been created. The country component, the registered users component, the volunteer information component has been created for my components in the web application. And for this demonstration, I'll be using the registered users component. So I select all from registered users. As you can see, it is empty now because I haven't pushed anything from the front end to this table yet. So I'm going to the front end. As you can see, it is running on the localhost 3000. I have run it from the Visual Studio by using npm start. Then I go to the registration and I try to register a new account. First name, last name. I'm keeping the username empty to show what happens. And I'm using invalid email address. I'm using invalid password. And when I try to submit it, it says the email address is invalid and password has to follow a particular protocol. And please fill in all text fields for the username. So now I'm writing an username. I'm writing a valid email address, my university email address. I'm writing a valid password, but I'm intentionally mismatching the password to see what happens. And I create on submit, and it says password and confirm password do not match. So now I type the correct password and submit. So you see the network protocol has started, and from the console I can see that a verification code has been sent to my email. It also shows that. I click on OK and the field open to put my verification code. Now I go to my email address and I reload it. And I can see I have received an email address. So, sorry. So I have used SendGrid API for this functionality, and in there I have created an account with this email address of mine, and from there I'm receiving a verification code 204121. So I'm typing a wrong verification code here on purpose to see what happens. So it says verification code is incorrect, and it also shows on the console that the verification code is incorrect. Now I type the correct verification code 204121. Click on verify, and you can see the user successfully verified, and it also shows on the console. And if I go to the network tab, you can see on the headers, this is the header for this functionality for my registration page. Everything is working perfectly. I go to the response. In the response section, everything is working perfectly too. I go to the initiator. So this is the initiator, and what we have done, everything is registered there. And this is the timing section. So this is the header. And this is the message from the console. This error message is related to that we actually inputted a wrong verification code. Now we reload the page and we go to the database to see if it is registered here. We click on select all from registered users, and as you can see in the table, we can set the information that we used for the registration, and it is successfully been registered on the database. Now let's try to register another account with the same email address. So I put my name here, the username, the same email address that I used earlier. Password. click on submit, and it says account exists with this email, login instead. And I can also see the message from here, the responses. And the initiator. Now I try to register with a different account, email account. I click on submit, and as you can see, a verification code has been sent to my email, and we can see on the console that it's actually been sent. This is a header. So I check my email, and I have received a verification code already. I put the verification code here, click on verify, and you can see user successfully verified. And also in the console it shows that user successfully has been verified. I go to the terminal again, I check my table, and as you can see, I have registered another account with different email address. So that's the all functionality of my registration page. And for the navigation bar, it was supposed to be developed by another member. As he has not developed and uploaded his code on GitHub yet, I created this demo homepage button to show you the navigation. So I'm on the homepage now again. Thank you.